Welcome to the Key Set Insider Series, Conversations with Inspirational Leaders. And today we're talking to two really inspirational ladies who have grown and developed a technology business in the UK, which is so important for the UK economy today. So welcome to Shivani Mahindra and Suzanne Powell, joint CEOs of this company that they have developed. Can you tell me about how the business started?
Well, the business actually has been around for more than 25 years. Suzanne and I met while we were working for a large fragrance house, and she was on the technical side of the business, I was on the marketing side of the business. We got on really well, we worked together on lots of international projects, and then one day we came across this company called Celessence that had a really interesting technology. And she and I got really excited about what we could do with it. So that's how our journey from the corporate world to entrepreneurship started. We were lucky. The company already existed, albeit in a very different form, because it was essentially a print company at that time. But it had a true entrepreneur running the business. And so he mentored us. He knocked off a few corporate bits that, he needed to knock off and bolted on the entrepreneurial bits. And I think the reason we've been able to do what we do, for a specialty chemicals business is because we're a mix of now these entrepreneurial skills and our corporate training.
And I know in that journey, it was quite a journey coming together and bringing different things. And I think looking at your website and things that you say on there, Shivani, you say it's not what it is, it's what you can imagine it will become. I think that was so inspirational to say that. New ideas are interesting, but knowing which ones can successfully become a reality, now that's really exciting. And I think that really says a lot about you.
Yes.
And Suzanne, you're saying technically creative or creatively technical. I consider no problem too big to resolve and no issue too small to ignore. So you're bringing two very different perspectives and backgrounds together, working in partnership, to develop a very, very successful 25-year-old business. It's got to be a good partnership.
It's quite unusual, I think, for a marketing person and a technical person to get along. Inherently in bigger companies there's a bit of creative tension between those two disciplines, there's competition even, and so for Shivani and myself, somehow we've never been in competition, whether we've been a big company or a small company, and I'm a technical person, but I'm very interested in commercialisation, so not just science for the sake of it, but how do you get that product, take it to market. Shivani comes from the marketing side, but sees it exactly the same. So together we're about bringing things to the market and bringing things to reality.
And I think we have a knack, and it's because lots of people have ideas. So I would not say there's a shortage of ideas. I don't think there is. But you've got to see an idea, and you've got to be able to see, can I turn it into something that I can get people to buy? And you can do an enormous amount of research, but you've got to have that intuition at the beginning. So, I had a job as a new business development director, and everyone came to me with new ideas. But to actually spot an idea that you can make money with, and there's something about the combination of our skills. We're very good with technology, seeing it, even as a molecule, and thinking, I can turn that into something a consumer wants. So it's, yes, there is a journey in which you have data and research and everything else, but you've got to pick the winner right from the beginning.
What is the instinct?
I think it's intuition. And kind of analysis, which is not on paper. It sort of all goes on almost on the back of an envelope.
And being fortunate enough to have a lot of experience, both before starting this company and since. Inevitably, you try some things, they don't work. You have high hopes, you come out of meetings thinking, we've clinched it. It doesn't always work out, and then you reappraise, you come again. So inevitably, we've kind of honed in on what works for the market, and we're constantly innovating in terms of market segments that we can get into, or different actives we can encapsulate. So it's a constant innovation process. but there's a lot of experience that will already guide us to what's probably not going to work and what's likely to work.
Yes, a lot of practical wisdom you've acquired over time. And I think there's also something always about knowing what's going on in the marketplace, keeping yourself abreast of what's happening and how the markets are moving and how people's tastes are moving, and just following that through and having the courage to go with it. Yeah,
that's right.
And you know, amazing that we have two women running a technology company. I think, and just having the the wisdom and so on to go with the technology and develop it. And I think it would be useful for our listeners to actually know what your company does. Can you just tell us what the products are?
So we make microencapsulation. Microencapsulation is a very old technology. It's I think everybody remembers scratch and sniff, either in magazines or in T-shirts. So it's not, it's not, Suzanne quite often likes the term rocket science. I think it is rocket science, but what we've done with it is imagine what you can do with a technology, one technology, a simple principle. Imagine what you can do with it. So we took the microcapsules, and microcapsules are basically like little bubbles. So think of bubble wrap, and you can put anything inside those bubbles, and when you snap the bubbles, they open up, and whatever's inside comes out. So your imagination will tell you, now what can I put on those bubbles that someone wants, and what can I put those bubbles on? So these microcapsules of ours end up all over the world, in everything from teddy bears to car seat protectors if you have a pet. So the pet gets into the car, there's seat protectors on the car seat. He sort of breaks some capsules with his paws as he sits down. You release a fragrance that's actually counteracting the malodors from the pet, although I'm sure none of our pets smell. Just teddy bears, car seat protectors, things that don't get washed, cushions, bed sheets. We put our capsules into a plethora of things all around the world. And in fact, in the UK, they even go into tights. So you can buy cooling tights, moisturizing tights, anti-cellulite tights. That technology is ours. And the journey of the technology is amazing because it's made in Rochester. It goes all the way to China, and then it ends up on your high street store in a pair of tights.
Amazing. Amazing. So the core thing is getting a great USP, a great core product, and then you can apply it elsewhere and just find new products and services, etc., that evolve from that.
Yeah.
So 25 years, a long time. You started small somewhere, and then you have exported into loads of different countries. Can you tell me something about that export journey? How easy has that been?
That's quite a challenge because we are, we're wholly based in the UK. We make all of our product here. And then as a small company, we have to, as Shivani said, a lot of the manufacturing destinations, if you like, for the end product. Could be Latin America, could be Asia, China, India, Bangladesh. We then have the challenge of trying to figure out how to get our product into all of those countries, all of the duty structures. It's a big challenge in a small company. But the key, I think, to getting into other markets is finding partners that you can work with who understand those countries and understand the nuances. So we've got some very good partnerships with other international companies who've been helpful along the way.
And what about the UK government? How has that supported you?
So we have certainly had some help from DTI, as was, in terms of advice. So I'd say that's been very good. Financial help, not so much. So we find that difficult in terms of knowing how to access perhaps grants or help. We haven't had any of that, and it always seems quite an obscure challenge in terms of how to reach it. So that's something we could certainly probably benefit from. So largely it's been getting up and doing it ourselves.
Yes. So maybe some more support from government agencies would be very helpful.
Would be helpful.
I think you're quite lonely as a little chemicals business and a specialty chemicals business. Now, I mean, anyway, being an entrepreneur is lonely. I'm not lonely because I work with, my best friends, so I'm not lonely at all, and I'm very lucky because I know most entrepreneurs are, alone. But I suppose the question is, does anybody know we exist, and would anyone like us to do better? And what help would you give me? Because I'll take it. And we will make this bigger, better. We'll employ more people, we'll export more, and we'll put more money into the country. But does anybody know we're here? And will anybody
They
else?
do now.
They do now.
Yes. Yeah. So yes, okay. Well, we'll work on that one together as a team. Okay. Working as entrepreneurs, you just hinted. What's it like? It can be lonely. But what else is would you love about the life of an entrepreneur? And that's assuming you do.
Oh, absolutely love it. Never thought I would be an entrepreneur. I always thought I was a big company person. But what I really love about it is the variety. There's enormous variety in terms of, everything really. You're managing people, you've got to understand, or at least employ somebody who understands IT, you've got to concern yourself with the law, you've got to think about interpersonal relationships, product development, costing, you name it, export. The breadth of the business, when you're an entrepreneur, you've got to know a bit of everything. And I think I love that variety.
Every day is different.
Yes.
Every task, every moment, every new challenge is different. I didn't think I was going to be an entrepreneur either. I think we are unusual entrepreneurs because we have classic big company training behind us. We didn't start, at 18, doing our own thing, making it in the garage. So and we did come into entrepreneurship, into a business that was already formed and running, and we took it on to its next level. So I think the challenge of always having something different and being in control of your destiny. Being in control of your destiny, and everything you do counts. Counts towards the success of your business, counts towards the success of your people. That is just amazing.
So it's a collaborative situation, isn't it? Rather than a competing situation.
Exactly.
We often get in large corporates, it's working more collaboratively.
Completely.
And just going for it and enjoying whatever you can uncover. And I'd like to talk a little bit about working in partnership, because I come across a lot, I coach a lot of businesses where partnership is an issue. Sometimes people say, I think I found the wrong partner, or my partner doesn't really kind of pull their weight. How's it been for you? Because you're together for a long time.
We have. I think it's evolved. Obviously, at the beginning, when we first got to know each other, we were working in different departments of a big company, and so we weren't working intimately at that point together. But I think fundamentally we see the business in the same way, despite having different disciplines. We are absolutely aligned in terms of what we want to do with the product, what we want to do with the business, and generally how we see situations. So it's quite rare we would have a ding-dong battle about something. We might have a minor disagreement in terms of, and if it's a marketing or licensing decision, I will defer, and if it's a technical decision, you will defer. And so it goes on. So we're actually really very lucky to have found a way of working, a way of being that we don't waste time arguing.
But I think by nature we're collaborative.
Yes.
We're not. I'm not saying that we're not competitive, but by nature we're collaborative. And I'm probably more laid back, and Suzanne is more. And sometimes she'll say to me, you know what? I need to be a bit more laid back, and she says you need to be a little less horizontal, and she's right, and that's actually why we sort of fit together, because it's true. I'll delegate, and then I'll say I've delegated it, and she'll say no, Shibani, you delegated it, but you better make sure it's done. Sometimes I'll say to her, you've delegated it, leave it alone. So it's I think we've helped each other grow, as people and as businesswomen. And personally, I feel really privileged. I think it's really hard to find partners in life and in business. Almost impossible that you really want to be with.
Exactly. And trust, obviously, is a big deal.
Yeah,
you almost don't need to say it because we're friends. But if one of us is away, you can fully trust that the other one is going to take care of business. The decisions they're going to make won't be identical, the ones that you would have made, but they'll be in the right spirit, and so there's a lot of trust in terms of handling situations, people and projects.
Yeah. What I'm hearing is really great communication and trust between you, and honesty. It's really crucial. Again, when I'm coaching, you know, people are not talking to one another. They've got a partner and one person says, I think my partner isn't going to do this or that. And they just haven't had the open conversation. And you can't run a business together unless you do that.
No.
You're honest with each other. What's the norm? Yeah. Okay. Where next? Where should we travel next? Just looking at, I know we had a conversation before, Shivani, and you were talking about leadership in different countries and culture in different countries. Can you talk about that? What's helped you grow the business, or what have you noticed there?
I think one of the things, if you're a UK entrepreneur, you've probably grown up in the UK, and if you haven't worked in big company environments, you probably haven't travelled that much. So our starting point is perhaps a bit luckier. So, you know, I've grown up in Africa, in the Far East, in India, and in the UK. And then Suzanne and I have both travelled extensively all our professional lives, all over the world. So you've immediately got a melting pot of cultures coming into a very small situation. So knowing how to behave in India, and knowing how to behave in Brazil, and it is different. There is different etiquette. So we're kind of quite groomed on an international level. So that's helped us to step into different cultures and to know how to behave. We're not we know how to make the best of where we come from and to sell it in a very, very positive light. So that's been a huge help. The UK is a small market for us because it's a small population, so it's not necessarily our focus, and our focus is always, it's an easy principle. If your stuff is going on to consumer products, you want to be selling in countries where there's lots of consumers, and it ain't the UK, it's America, it's Latin America, it's the Far East, it's India, it's China, and that's where you go. But when we have tried to do business in the UK, because it is our home market, so we do want to be on the shelves in the department stores and supermarkets, it's quite hard. People are not really open to entrepreneurial kind of thinking, and they're not really open to innovation. And it's a lot about how much it costs, but it's quite hard sometimes for people to get people to give you the time just to hear what you've got to say. We found America is very different because you still have an entrepreneurial layer of people where you can do business. And for us, we do business with some big companies, but we're a small business. So, you can be swallowed up if your customer is far too big. You have to maintain a balance. So we're quite often looking for a mix of small, medium, and large companies. I generally find that there isn't that desire to listen, think, and innovate that there is in the States, even in Latin America, and in Asia. Everyone, tell me, what have you got for me? Let me hear what you've got. And at least if you get a 5-minute hearing, you can say what you've got. And it's the can-do culture, which we both love. You've got it in the Americas and you've got it in Asia. Yeah, can do. Yeah, will do. And I think, I don't know what it is culturally about the UK, but
a little bit more caution.
Yeah, maybe.
I was just thinking to a project that we're working on right now. It's probably taken 2 years to get to the point where the customer is ready to just about commit. If we have that same project in Latin America, we're on the market in 6 months. So it's rate of innovation. It's risk taking. There's a higher degree of excitement and willingness to take a chance, take a risk, and speed to market. We can often deliver what we're trying to deliver much more quickly in other markets.
So I wonder where this comes from then. Why are we innately a bit resistant to change? I don't know, because we're very creative country, aren't we?
Very.
And we have got lots of wonderful ideas. We just don't translate them into business so well.
Yes.
Maybe I think maybe our education system, because we are brought up to become professionals now, and that actually really needs to radically change. but it certainly needs to change with with AI, VR, all this new technological revolution that's coming. We have to move with it, don't we? And so I'd like to lead into, where do you see your business going now, and how might this technological revolution impact you guys?
Well, I think we've only just scratched the surface. I think we've got lots more markets to expand into. So Eastern Europe is one of our target markets. We're just starting our journey in Asia, so that's a huge market for us. There are categories of things that don't have microcapsules on them, and so creatively think, and you come up with things that you think, how on earth would I have known that might be somewhere that I could do business? But I think with a lot of this, and technology can do what it wants, but a lot of this is about just happening to meet a person who knows a person who thought of a thing, and then you're on a journey. And coming back to your thing about why is it like this in the UK, Suzanne, I was just thinking where we've got a couple of customers who are UK based, but their customers are not. Their customers are actually in the Middle East or the Far East. Now they move quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wonder whether it's about economic growth and the encouragement of people to do things and make things and move. So I'm going to India tomorrow, and what fascinates me there is it's just everyone's busy, everyone's industrious. And you come back to England, and I mean I love living here, but there's
today.
Yes, that buzz seems to have disappeared.
So maybe it's more about evolution of culture and economies.
Yes,
and we need to, in the UK now, really to start again, almost, to get engaged with a new technological era and run with that and get the energy up around that.
I think we need to embrace what we're good at. And what we're good at is we are good at innovation.
Yes.
When we do go out and we travel the world and we go to Mexico and we go to Asia and we go to the USA, the door's open. We're talking to CEOs, we're talking to owners of companies. I remember one particular owner in Mexico that I met with, and he was proudly telling me about his company, and he said, we have 5,000 employees and we have 4 factories, and I'm sitting there and he's telling me all this, and then he said, and how many employees do you have? And at the time I said, 6. And he said, 600? I said, no, 6. 6,000? No. 6. How can this be? How can you have all these products? How are you bringing all this? I said, well, that's what we do. We innovate.
Innovative, yes.
Sometimes on a shoestring, sometimes on a slightly longer piece of string, but we make a little go a long way. And I think that is really the strength of UK companies, especially innovative companies when they're working well. You make a little, you take it a long way. So that's our strength.
Yeah. And I think your strengths come over enormously. You're just 2 really competent ladies who love what you do and are not afraid to have a go. Go out and meet and network and just see where it can go. So I'd like to end now with asking you, what's the most fun you've had in this business?
That's a long list of things to choose from. I think we've met ambassadors. That was fun. We've travelled to China, to the depths of China and India.
Yes.
Does that qualify as fun? We make it fun. We make it fun.
Suzanne has the most fantastic sense of humour, and then there's the whole Scottish humour thing going on as well. And we just laugh and we find each other funny. I would say that, even days when things are tough, we've still got time for a laugh and a giggle. And everybody that works for us has a great sense of humour. I think it's one of the things Britain does best. Yeah. British sense of humour. It's absolutely fabulous.
No, even on a normal day, a wet Wednesday in our factory, when we're smelling fabrics and assessing teddy bears and all that sort of stuff, people are laughing because it's quite fun. Let's face it. I mean, compared to perhaps analysing pharmaceuticals or dissecting a detergent, when you're sort of smelling pillows and is it lavender, and having those kind of discussion. It's fun.
It's fun. And I think for us, you know, we had, when we came into this business, it was a manufacturing business. And we have taken it from a manufacturing business into a branded, licensed technology, sold all over the world. So Suzanne was in Mexico, and she went into this shop, and she called me, and she goes, "Here's one of our bears, and there's our logo on it." You know, so that for
In
me
Mexico City.
is
Amazing.
Yeah, great feeling.
Amazing.
As a product developer, and that's what we are at heart.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. You want to see your product on the shelf with your little
little
logo.
logo on.
That makes you feel good.
See, sometimes we say the same thing together. We've been working together.
So such an inspiration, and you know, to anybody out there who's thinking of starting their business, get on with it, because it is
Couldn't agree
fun,
more.
and to see your brand worldwide, I cannot imagine anything better.
No.
Thank
Absolutely.
you so much
Thank
for
you very
giving
much.
us your time and
Thank you.
inspiration today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.